Welcome back, and I'm still at Henning Pauli's place, and I have the great fortune to be looking sneakily at a 2026 Ibanez model here. And this, for the eagle-eyed among you, is indeed a baritone guitar. Now this is from the Artcore series, so we're going to be talking sub $1,000 or €1,000 for this, Indonesian built, and it's going to have a 28-inch scale, so it's going to have a longer neck than your standard guitar, and this is going to come tuned as standard to B. And that means that if I play a bar chord on the 5th fret, that's your E bar chord that would be the bottom end of a standard electric guitar. If I do the same thing on this, we get that. So this is the AS7328. I have a very sneaky and very incomplete spec sheet here, and I can share what I know with you right now. So this is from the AS Artcore series. It's got a 3-piece Niato maple set-in neck, which you can see there. We've got a beautiful tobacco sunburst finish on this guitar, by the way. Tobacco brown, as Ibanez call it. Really nice, classy looking thing. I really like it. I actually have, if you know my channel, the AS73FM in a beautiful blue, sort of swimming pool, sort of blue flame maple finish. That's a standard guitar, not a baritone. Looks fantastic, and it's a very similar overall package to this one. Kind of Gibson 335 in terms of size, so pretty big and chunky in terms of the body, and we've got the hollow body here and a center block there as well. Very cool thing. I'm really excited to try this one, by the way. So we've got that 3-piece neck, then we've got 22 frets, we've got a 711mm, that 28-inch scale length then. The body is going to be linden, the top, the back and the sides are all going to be made of linden wood. Then we've got a bound rosewood fretboard, great, rosewood, like it at this price, with acrylic block inlays. We've got medium frets on this guitar, and we've got Ibanez's own classic elite humbucking pickups in neck and in bridge. We've got a volume and a tone control for each of the pickups, a 3-way selector switch, and we're not going to have anything like coil splits. No, we can't split the coils down, so this is going to be full humbucking tones at all times. So this guitar is tuned to B standard, like I've already said. So the bottom string is a low B, and then the 5th string here, that's going to be an E, the same as your low E string on a standard tuned electric guitar. And the strings up from that, you have an A, then a D, then an F sharp, and a top B there as well. Now you're not going to get a case or a bag or anything like this with this guitar. It's just the guitar itself. There are going to be recommended Ibanez gig bags. I'll put links down there if you want to check those out as well. But what we should do is hear some sounds from this beast now. Now, for me personally, I tend to play baritones fairly similarly to how I would a standard guitar, but they're great for so many different things because they just add a totally different sonic texture to what you're playing. Now you get that big, fat warmth and richness from the extra low end, and if you try your best, and if you up the treble and if you change your amp settings a bit, reduce the low end, it's not going to sound that muddy. But that is something that you should be aware of when playing a baritone guitar, of course. But let's hear those classic elite pickups now. I'm going to play a low, what would look like an E chord, but this is going to be a B chord, of course, because we're tuned to B, and that sounds just like this. It's a little bit muddy if I just strum it. So I wouldn't really do that too much, but you just get the gist of it. If I go to the middle setting, both pickups on together, and the neck pickup. So really nice, mellow sounding humbuckers there. Personally, I would love it if this guitar had a coil split as well, so we could do single coil tones, but that's something that I guess you could get done yourself if you wanted to. Now let's do some more kind of clean tone sort of noodling with this. Baritones are great when you play open strings, when you play arpeggios, and also when you do riffs up above the 12th fret. That just seems to work for them somehow. So let's try a couple of things out, see what we get. We're on a clean setting on the FM9 down on the floor in front of us there, and this one sounds a bit like this. Really nice mellow sound, and I don't have access via this FM9 to anything like a big reverb or a tremolo that would give us some really nice ambient sort of tones, but you can imagine how nice they would be. And hopefully I'm going to get this guitar in for some more in-depth videos at some point as well. But let's try something else, just a few more arpeggios, this time just on the neck pickup. Both pickups together. really nice, rich tones there as well. Let's try it just with the bridge humbucker and see how that sounds. It's a real nice range of clean tones there, and you can play your cowboy chords if you keep it nice and gentle and if you palm mute a bit as well. So that's a really nice sound for cleans, and that's definitely something I could imagine myself using in the music that I tend to play, which is Indian alternative rock most of the time. Now if we add a bit of gain into the equation, going to go to the gainy sound on the FM9 here, straight away I think that's going to give us way more gain than we had before. And you can hear straight away that this is going to be fantastic for sludgy, doomy, grungy sort of stuff as well. But let's reduce the volume down a bit and try and get some sort of more edge of breakup sort of sound. See if we can get something like that going. Really lowering the volume a bit. And if I do similar arpeggios to before, you can hear that that is giving us a real nice thickness and frequencies that you don't get with a standard electric guitar. Really nice ambient sort of tones. I would love to add a big tremolo to that and hear how that sounded. Perhaps I'll get the chance to do that in future. But for indie rock sort of stuff as well, you can do that if you'd like to. Again, playing bar chords slightly higher up, and it would sound a bit like this. It's a much more foreboding sound than when you're in standard tuning, but it really works for that kind of thing as well. Now, if you wanted to play something like classic rock on a baritone, you probably could do it, but bear in mind that if you're in your standard A position, as you would be on an electric guitar, you're actually in E, so you're way down there as well. So if you want to go up and do stuff on the D string instead, there you're more kind of in A, so it kind of does work for that sort of thing, but this is not going to be a natural guitar for that kind of stuff. But it does work, and it sounds a bit like this. So it works for that kind of thing, but I'd recommend going higher up on the fretboard or doing stuff on the D string like this. Real nice. I'm really enjoying this, by the way. Maybe you can see that. Let's up the gain levels somewhat more and go into kind of more hard rock sort of modes, see what we can get out of the guitar in that sense. And we'll try and do some doomy sort of grungy riffs as well, see what we get. Let's try some hard rock sort of stuff and see how that sounds. And on the neck pickup, let's hear how sludgy that sounds. A lot less clarity going on there. And with both pickups together, with this much gain, with this baritone, without a coil split or something, and with this sort of tonality from the FM9, I would suggest staying on the bridge humbucker again for a riff like this. So it will work for sort of heavier sort of rock things, and if you're playing a riff like that alongside a guitar player in the band who's using a standard tuned guitar, you're going to get some really interesting thick frequency mixing going on, so that's really going to work. Now for pop punky sort of stuff, I've done that sort of thing on baritones before, and again you'd be up high on the fretboard, but you can get some stuff going on that sounds a bit like this. Let's get a bit more gain maybe. Let's try up here. Beefy. I like that a lot. Sounds really, really good. Really works for that kind of stuff as well. I'm really impressed with that. Let's try on the neck pickup, but I think it's going to be very muddy. You'd hear straight away that you'd want to reduce the amount of low end in your amp if you were going to want to do that, because that is just way too kind of sludgy and imprecise sounding. Listen to this. Kind of a wall of noise, which does work for some things, but it's not quite what we want to do here. And if we add even more gain to this, well, we're going to end up in 5150 territory. That's what the profile is. And that's definitely like real sort of low grinding riffs, sludge and doom ahoy. I really like that. That's real nice and fat. Let's try the other sound that we've got here, see what we get. Oh, we got some delay going on that one. Let's hear how this sounds. You can imagine that kind of thing. Get a big fuzz going in front of that, get some other gnarly effects going on, and you're going to have absolutely massive sounds for kind of low-end chugging ahoy. It just works for that kind of stuff. So it's going to be really good for that sort of thing as well. Should we try tuning it down to what would be drop D, but in this case would be drop A? I think I'll try and do that. Let's do it now. So I've tuned it down, so we're effectively in what would be drop D, but is actually drop A on this guitar. So we've got a low A going on here, which is 7 frets lower than your standard guitar would be. Here's your standard E. And this one sounds a little bit like this. Massive, huge, love it. That was a butchered take on a Mastodon riff. If you know it, write it down there in the comments. But this has been a whistle-stop tour through the Ibanez 2026 AS7328 Baritone. I'm really, really impressed with this based on the 10 minutes I've just been playing. I've really enjoyed it. Really looking forward to getting one of these at home in my own environment to try it out with my amp and my pedals and the settings that I would personally use. But I already thought it sounded great here. So I really, really enjoyed that. If you'd like to find out more about this specific guitar, then click the links down there in the description. There's going to be videos by Henning and by a bunch of others as well, so make sure you listen out for those too if you'd like. But thanks Henning for inviting me to check out this lovely beast of a baritone quickly. Thank you Leslie for switching the video, but that's been it for today. I've been Rich and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.